Are you thinking about retiring early? Well, if so, this financial freedom video is going to give you some insight on some of the things that you need to be considering before making that decision, so stay locked in. Hi, my name is Carson Graves, Certified Financial Planner and President and CEO of the Retirement Education Center.
And my name is Andrea Graves, Director of Operations at the Retirement Education Center. For additional concepts on how to maximize your retirement, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos. So Carson, early retirement is becoming less of a thing according to most studies, so why is that?
Well, I can say, Andrea, I think it may be for a few reasons. One, the cost of living in America is extremely high now. To couple that, savings is extremely low for most people. Also, when you're considering having stability in retirement, pensions are now, a thing of the past for most private companies. And there's one more element that I think people haven't considered, at least until they retire, and that's social isolation. Many seniors are connected to their jobs that they've been working on for 20 to 40 years or so. And so leaving said job can leave many seniors feeling isolated, and many people are not prepared for that. So if you are someone who's considering retiring early, there are some things that you're going to have to be aware of when it comes to your surroundings, and that is exactly what we're going to be discussing today in our financial freedom video. But before we get into that, there are 2 rules to retirement income that we like to give you. And Andrea, what are those 2 rules?
Well, rule number 1 is to never run out of money, and rule number 2 is to never forget rule number 1.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into our lesson today to talk about the things that you need to be thinking about if you're considering retiring early.
Listen, I would think that understanding your money before retirement would be critical. So what should someone need to know about their money before they retire?
Yeah, when you're talking about your money, Andrew, there's so many metaphors that a person can use as a financial advisor, because it's critical to use metaphors and similes when you're talking to clients, because you want to speak in layman's terms. And I think I want to do that here. When you're talking about retiring, you should treat your money just like your home when you're building a new home. And the first and the most important thing that a new home has to have is a solid foundation. And when we're talking about a solid foundation for retiring, that means your income. You got to make sure that your income is going to be able to support your basic needs for food, clothing, insurance, things of that nature. Things that you're going to need continuously throughout your retirement years. So if you don't have those basic guaranteed income sources in place, it can cause your retirement to be maybe somewhat suspect down the road. So you got to make sure that you maximize your Social Security benefits. If you're not fortunate enough to have a pension, then you need to start looking at other guaranteed sources like annuities in order to bridge any gaps that you may have in your foundation for income. Now, once you do have a solid foundation laid out and in place when it comes to your retirement, then the second thing that you're going to start doing when it comes to building a home is that you're going to start placing the walls. You're going to start building the walls of that home. And the main purpose of walls is really to make sure that you have things that can stay out of that home. So when you're looking at, things in your retirement that you need to start considering here, it's going to be things like, your life insurance, health insurance, disability insurance, having the proper long-term care insurance. These are things that can enter your home and end up wrecking your entire foundation and your entire house if something were to happen to you. So you got to make sure that when you're building the walls of your retirement, that you include these things and make sure you properly have accounted for them and that they are in place to do the thing that you needed to do if there's something that enters your home that is unexpected. And of course, once your walls are finally built, Andrea, you're going to add one of the most aggressive aspects of your home, and that is your roof. Now, when you're talking about your roof, it's going to have many different peaks and valleys. And I like to compare this to the stock market. And of course, any sufficient retirement plan must be exposed to a certain percentage of equities. Now, of course, we don't give financial advice on this channel. It's important that we always notate that. But this is really more common sense advice when it comes to your money. Now, when you're talking about your roof, and why I say that it's the most aggressive is because it's going to take most of the beating as it pertains to like the rain, hail, wind. So if you don't have an adequate roof in place, Andrew, it can end up costing you dearly when it comes to anything compromising that roof. And of course, most people know that when you have a strong roof, it is expected to last anywhere between 25 and 30 years before it needs any type of replacing. And so that is how you want to view your retirement. Your retirement should last anywhere between 25 and 30 years now, and maybe even longer. So it is critically important that you do understand that the building of your retirement should be similar to the building of your home.
So, Carson, early retirement is obviously also about when to retire, right?
Yeah, understanding when about retiring is extremely important, because here's the thing why I say that. If you're thinking about retiring early, there's some things you must understand about your money. Because if you retire, let's say before the age of 65, Medicare doesn't kick in until age 65. So you're going to have to go to the marketplace, Andrew, and look for independent health insurance. Have you accounted for that in your expenses? Also, if you retire before the age of, let's say, 62, well, that's the earliest that you can start your Social Security benefits. So if you don't have a game plan in place to understand how to fill that gap before you perhaps have to start your Social Security benefits, that is going to be extremely important. The second when that you should understand is, when do you file for your Social Security benefits? I just mentioned that the earliest that you can file is at 62, but is that really the smartest thing to do when you're going to receive perhaps a 30% haircut on those benefits for life? So you have to know when to file for those benefits, and of course it's different for everyone. And the last thing that a person should understand if they're going to retire early is how much money can they spend during retirement. A lot of people have heard in some form or fashion about the 4% rule, being able to spend 4% on your retirement savings and it lasts you approximately 30 years. But what if there's a down market? Are you still going to be able to continue to spend according to the 4% rule? Or will you have to change that to maybe a 3% rule? What if there's some sort of severe illness that come about and you have not properly accounted for that by having the proper insurance in place? Now, how much of your portfolio savings are you going to have to allocate towards that illness? Now, in that situation, are you going to continue to spend like you were before that illness? These are things that you have to account for. This is why, Andrew, we always, talk about how important it is for someone to sit down with a financial advisor, a fiduciary, who can actually build a retirement plan around all the changing needs that may take place in their retirement.
So, Carson, the hardest thing in general to plan for in life is the unknown. So for people that are retiring early, what should they know regarding this?
Yeah, this is probably, Andrew, the most critical question that people are going to have to grapple with in life in general, as you said. Now, when it comes to the unknown, it is always lurking to steal, kill, and destroy. So you really have to plan for this. And the way I help my clients plan for this is really by having them to write down their biggest concern and their biggest question about what if. You need to write down your biggest concern of the what if in life. So what if I live too long? If that's one of your biggest concerns, then you may need to start looking at ways to mitigate that what if by perhaps implementing a good long-term care plan. If your biggest what if is what if I die too soon, then make sure that you have the proper life insurance in place for your family, or make sure that you have the proper estate plan in place that's going to protect your family in case anything happens to you too soon. If your biggest what if is what if I run out of money before I pass away, then it may be beneficial for you to speak to someone about how to implement annuities into your overall retirement planning. These are some big questions that you may have, and they are definitely some of the unknowns that can take place in life, but you can absolutely plan for these and help mitigate these unknowns as well.
Okay, Carson, so what is the moral of this video?
Well, the overall moral of this video is that if you're thinking about retiring early, it is critically important that you sit down with a fiduciary financial advisor that is not just building you a retirement plan based on investment products, but they're building you a holistic retirement plan that's going to be based around the changing needs that are inevitable along your retirement journey. Thank you again for tuning in to our Financial Freedom video. Please understand that these videos are created for educational purposes only, and that you should always seek out your own financial advisor, your own tax advisor, and your own attorney regarding your personal situation. Also, if you are looking for an independent fiduciary advisor to help you with these types of complex financial matters, we highly recommend that you utilize the links in our description below and go ahead and schedule a 1-hour free consultation with us today.
After this video, please check out our other videos that will give you tips on how to maximize your retirement. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you have questions,
we have answers.